warm welcome to this very first presentation of the new Vienna Symphonic Library Dimension Strings. After a production time of 4 years and about 1 million recorded samples, we're proud to show you a quick glimpse at the first part, the violins. The violin section consists of 8 musicians, and just like with the Dimension Brass, they have been recorded as a section, performing every note together, but at the same time each individual player has been recorded with a separate microphone. We will introduce the countless possibilities and the great scope for design that are now available for the first time for composers and arrangers in this video. The 8 violins of the Dimension violins are available in separate folders in the browser of your Vienna Instruments player. The matrices and presets for Vienna Instruments Pro are organized in ready-made desks with 2 players each, 2 DVZ groups with 4 players each, and a setup with all 8 players in one Vienna Instruments Pro instance. That's why Vienna Instruments Pro now comes with 16 slots for each cell, so that you can actually load up to 16 articulations in one cell, and you can even use cell crossfade to crossfade between articulations with all 8 players. And of course, humanize plays an important part in such a setup. Nevertheless, we will use a setup with 1 player for each Vienna Instruments Pro instance, as this will give us most freedom of scope. A great way to get fast results is to record enable all 8 MIDI tracks when recording a passage, and then tweak a few parameters like velocity crossfade or cell crossfade, depending on your priorities. This way you have quick access to all 8 players with a minimum editing effort. But now let's listen to those violins. The first example you'll hear are simple détaché patches. First the whole group, then the separate players. Look at it as being introduced to the musicians of a brilliant ensemble. We'll continue with the most essential means to sculpt the sounds of a string ensemble, the possibility to change from playing in unison to playing DVZ. The 8 violins will start playing in unison and will then split up in up to 4 groups with 2 players each. The balance and volume within the ensemble stays unchanged, as it is always the same amount of instruments playing. And now the same piece a little modified. The first players of the 4 desks are playing vibrato, the second players without vibrato, which results in an even more elaborate sonic impression. Next up, a quick comparison how a fast piece can sound different if you record all instruments at the same time with a single keyboard performance, like in the first example. And in the second part you'll hear that each instrument has been recorded individually. Lacking keyboard skills might even create an extra portion of realism there, as 1 or 2 players might hit a wrong note and the timing of the ensemble is not 100% accurate. First, the version recorded in unison. And now the more vivid version with each instrument recorded separately. Another example. This time, fast arpeggios with performance trills. First the variation with the whole ensemble recorded in one run, then again the version with individually recorded instruments. An important feature of the dimension strings is the possibility to control which string a note is actually played on. You'll find 6 categories in the structure of each instrument. RE means regular, an optimized configuration of the ranges of each separate string. OS means open strings. In this case, you will always hear the open strings of the given instrument. With a violin, this means G3, D4, A4 and E5 will always sound as an open string. And of course you'll find the separate strings with a complete play range. Force means that you'd like to use the biggest possible playing range of a certain string, usually a range of 1 octave plus a fifth. Here is an example that shows the difference between regular and forced G. In the first run, regular, the Vienna instruments player will switch between the G and the D string. In the second run, forced G, all notes will be played on the G string. Another example, and this time we'll start with forced D, so that all notes will be played on the D string exclusively. And then we'll switch to the same passage played with the regular setting, using multiple strings. With forced D, you'll hear how the player slides to the next note, especially when playing larger intervals, like a subtle portamento that results from the forced legato on the same string. And the same piece again, but this time 4 violins play only on the D string, the other 4 players play more strings. Another great possibility to create a unique sound and also to enjoy many variations with the dimension strings. It goes without saying that the humanized features of Vienna Instruments Pro will be a great time saver when it comes to authenticity. Here's an example for delay humanizing. First, pizzicatos without humanizing, then a run with different delays for every note played by the different players. And a second example, and this time we're moving the delay slider to adjust the amount of the various delays. A crucial part of each sample library is flexibility when it comes to dynamic changes. Velocity crossfade is a great tool to control dynamics and timbre of our samples. Here's an example that makes use of velocity crossfade, and additionally we have added expression for even more dynamic depth. You will also add another dimension to your sound if you take care of the velocity curve of each instrument separately. It's simply a fact that a live ensemble will never perform dynamic changes with 100% synchronicity. So this will be another step towards even more realism in virtual orchestration. We've also turned our attention to the possibilities of switching fluently between vibrato and non-vibrato. For sustains, performance legatos and performance portamentos of the dimension strings, this option is now available, as you can hear in this example that switches from non-vibrato to vibrato and back again. To make this change more subtle, you can let only the first desk, 2 players, perform the transition from non-vibrato to vibrato, like in the following example. The other 6 players will keep on playing without vibrato. And you'll get an even more lively sound in unlimited nuances by mixing different articulations within the ensemble. First a short phrase, all players are playing a normal staccato. Now the same phrase, mixing alternative or similar articulations with one player playing staccato like before, some others playing short détachés, and the rest playing performance marcatos. We hope that you liked this short presentation and you could get an idea of all the possibilities that are now available in Dimension Strings. Many additional features will be introduced and explained in upcoming video tutorials very soon.